Okay, so let's reconnect with this step here. I want to demonstrate this one. So again, if you have done, great. If you have not, pay attention here, because I'll be walking through. Okay, so step 4. Okay, so first thing, create an action, create a view. So we go to our controller and we create a new view. So again, nothing too fancy here, new view here. Sorry, a new action here in our controller, and then we have a new view under home called list students. Okay? Now, send a list collection of 4 hard-coded students from the action to the view. So, again, today it's not about the data. I don't care that I'm hard-coding the data. That's all good. I'll find one day in the future, you're going to see how to do that all from the database. And again, we're going to have our struggles there. Struggle of today is to deal with the view. Okay? So here's what I did. Using what we have seen last class, how to initialize a collection. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a list of students and I'm initializing the list right away. So I'm using curly braces after the new list of students. And for each item that I'm adding to the list, I'm calling new students. And right there, I'm initializing each student with first name, last name, course number, all of that. So I'm doing this 4 times. Student 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once I'm done, I have my list of 4 students, and I send that to the view. So down here, the same way as in example 1, we send 1 student to the view, we are now sending a collection, a list of students to the view. So we are sending students, the list of students, okay, to the view. Now, of course, I'm hard coding this. As I said, we're going to see how we can do this from the database. But right now, this is not our focus. Any questions up to here, up to this point? So that's 4.2. Now, let's go to 4.3 there. So we have now to go to our view, loop through the list of students, and print them out and show them. So our model will not be linked anymore to 1 student, to the student object, but to a collection of students now. Now our model is a collection. And you may say, Edison, you are using a list here, but then here you are expecting IEnumerable. Well, a list is an IEnumerable, okay? Why am I using IEnumerable here? Because I mentioned to you before that IEnumerables, they are more efficient with data than lists, okay? When we're dealing with database and things like that. I just want you to get used to that. I just want you to get used to the fact that sometimes we are using a list here and IEnumerable there. I could change this and I could make this list. It would work the same way. It would work the same way, okay? But I decided to use IEnumerable just to get you in the mood of using IEnumerables, okay? And we're going to be using lists, we're going to be using IEnumerables, we're going to be using something called iQueryable as well. Those are all collections that have minor difference between each other, but I just want you to get started on that.
Does iQueryable inherit from IEnumerable?
Yes.
Okay, so if I wanted to write IEnumerable instead of iQueryable, this would assume that I would be able to also be able to run lists, all types of collections.
So if you wanted to...
Okay, so instead of, let's say,
IEnumerable,
iQueryable, you're
yeah,
only able to write, be able to use things that are of type iQueryable and things that inherit from that.
Yes.
But not IEnumerable itself. But if you were IEnumerable itself, then you can use everything in a way.
Yeah. You can extrapolate that.
Okay.
iQueryable. There are some particulars about iQueryable that I will address more in future classes.
Right.
iQueryable, when you're dealing with data, is even more optimized to deal with data than actually IEnumerable. But we get there in a little bit down the road. Okay. But it's a good rationale what you mentioned there. Okay. So we set the model up there. Now, after doing that, we create our table. So I'm not going to go to the details here of HTML. That's not the purpose here. I'm going to assume that HTML you can figure out on your own. If you have questions about HTML, well, you have Google. But then you have for each. So you have your for each loop. So see, this is a syntax that you're going to be using with Razor. Razor, you open a Razor statement like with the @ symbol, and then you have for each. For each here, this is very much C#, not too much of a difference. I could have used the student here. I could use var. Remember last class? That's the reason why we had last class, just to keep those pieces of C# in mind. So we can use either way. And then I can just say @s is a student. Remember now model here, differently from our first example, model here is what? What is model here? It's a class, but a class of what? Of? A collection, a student list. Yes, that's correct. So that's the reason why I can say, I can use for each student in the model, do this. And then for each student, I print out each property. Okay? That's it. And then in a for each loop, you open curly braces, you close curly braces. If you start a line with a tag, it knows that it's HTML. So you see that it's a bit of a mix of HTML with codes. Again, you're going to get used to that syntax as you go along, but that's about it. That's how a for each loop looks like. You can do tests, as we're going to do later. We can do if statements inside of here. We can do switch statements inside of here. We can test and we're going to do that very shortly. If GPA is greater than 2, do something. We can do tests. We can use ifs and we can use switches inside this loop here. Any questions about that statement, the for each statement? Again, keep your questions that you have submitted in mind there. They should surface at some point if it's not done yet. Okay, so we have done 4.3. Let's jump to 4.4. Now we're going to be using the power of tag helper. Tag helper, we have a bunch of tags that they're going to help us building our tags, including this ASP.action. Here's how we're going to use that. We're going to use that tag in our index, because remember, index is the first view that comes up once you run the application. Okay? So from the index view, you're going to have a link to load the list of students. That link looks like this. See, instead of hard coding the href here in our A tag, we can use ASP-action. What is the action that we want to call? The list of students. And by doing that, the end result will be href equals to the controller / the action. What is the controller? Home. What is the action? List students. So if I run this, and if I look at the source code, see, now that ASP-action became href equals to home controller / list of students. We can type in this in the URL, or we can click the link. So if I click here, I see the table, and I see all properties from the 4 students. Okay? Again, this is possible. This tag helper is possible. Actually, why is the tag helper possible? What makes it possible to use that tag helper? Yeah, so if we look at view imports, this is the line that makes that tag helper possible. If I get rid of this line, if I save it, and I go back there to the index, see, it's no longer active as it was before. So if I run this, you're not going to get the link there.
Could you run it if you did that same, use the same tag, but you'd have to use it for every time you use like an
Like in the view itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call that line at the top of this view, but again, you'd have to do that for each one. So we are trying to save doing that by just doing it in one single place.
I mean, could you do it inline?
You might. I don't think so. I don't think so, because yeah, I don't think there is a way to call it here. I mean, I don't see how you do that. What kind of syntax you would have to work here? What is that?
It wouldn't be very helpful anyways.
Yeah. But what you could do is that you could have this line, this directive in the view itself. Okay, so that's that one. Again, questions? I hope that it's becoming more clear. As I said, I'll be warning you. Things will start to get faster, let's put it this way, from next week on. I want to shift, before we go to, actually, that's the correct slide here. Okay, before we move to the other steps, 2 things to do before that. Test 1, I'll put this up for voting. To me, it does not matter, either before reading week or after, just so you have a reference point. So reading week is this week here, from the 21st to the 22nd of October, okay? So we can either have the test here on the 20th or here on the 3rd, because 27 is still part of the reading week, okay? Engagement week. So on the 20th before or on the 3rd after. I'll put that for voting on Nearpod. And again, you decide. You decide, okay? Look at the other commitments that you have. I have to do this early because we have to get ourselves ready here. But
by the way, do we have class on the Thanksgiving weekend?
I'll put that in a second. I don't know. I know that not the Monday, but I don't know about this Sunday. I'll check that, okay? When is that weekend, actually? When is it?
I think it's 13.
Here, is it? Yeah. I'll have to check that. Okay, so... candidates may come here to the front to preach pros and cons, no? Okay, test 1. Okay, I'm gonna hide names here, so we don't know names. The code is this one. I'm gonna actually open Nearpod. I'm gonna open somewhere else this. Okay, sorry. That make it, okay, so that's the code. So again, near pods, and that's the code.
Oh, they were really. Yes. Bro, let's do before.
What do you mean they're all gonna be before me?
Yeah, exactly. So let's have our reading. I mean, you work harder than you get to report.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, come on. Who cares?
Okay, again, click submit, so you submit the vote, okay?
That's the whole point. It's not. You're not supposed to
Click submit.
Bro, I'm gonna go eat edible or something. Yeah, party time, bro. Who cares about, like, you guys just do it before and just relax. Go chill with some friends, chill with some girls. You can do that with alcohol if you bring. Oh no, you're
YRIDG, YRIGG. Submit, submit, you have 30 seconds here. Okay, give 1, 2, okay, so here's the thing. Whatever I see the first time is what stays. Because people can keep changing and things like that. So whatever we see is what goes, and no revolt, no delays. It's the first thing that we see. After reading week. Okay. That's okay. After, and it's done. After reading week.
The one guy that picked out was me Okay, guys. No cheating, no good.
Okay, so.
You guys really disappointed me right now. No.
Okay, so next thing here. Next thing, okay? We are on our 4th week. So you have, you got I guess it's time already to see how I do things, how I operate. So 4 weeks is, again, good enough that you have seen enough of me, but we still have 10 weeks to go. So it's still time to address anything that you may think that should change, or should adjust. So this is the time. Have you seen this before? I'm not talking about lights in the streets. I'm talking about in a classroom context, Some of you have seen that before because you have taken my courses before, but most of you have not. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'm going to give you a link, and you're going to answer 3 questions anonymously. What I should stop doing, what I should start doing, and what I should continue doing. Does it mean that I'll do whatever you say there? No. Okay? No, it doesn't. But I'll listen to your opinions. I'll take that into account. I'll share your opinions actually here. And if I'm not going to do something there, I'll even explain why I'm doing one way or another way. But again, you have a chance to voice your opinions there. And I'll share that with you next class, what came out of it. I'll share a link. You have 4 minutes to write your stuff there. Again, anonymous, so don't go soft, no, go all the way in. Put your thoughts there. Let's see here. Okay, so on Padlet, I'm just writing stop, start, continue, and the link will be there. So it is a Google form, and again, just 3 questions. Take 4 minutes to write your notes there. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, let's delete this, just in case. Let's delete this, just in case. No. Okay, go ahead. Stop, start, continue. The link is there.
Sir, can I use this format with everyone?
What do you mean by everyone?
Like other people in my life?
Oh, of course you can, of course. It's not trademark. It's not trademark. Actually, I have a few people to send that. My wife, I have a conversational version.
I like that. I like this. Yeah, you taught me to? No, yeah.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know why I have this one. May not contain dimensional operation. I checked all
Okay,
the
so
text.
first thing is that at model here is lowercase m.
I don't want to spam them, you know.
Okay, so I don't know if that's the reason why, but
Oh, I guess so.
yep, this is correct. Yep, they are the ones. So see how it goes now?
Okay, thank you.
Problem.
He's gonna send you.
I wonder if that one. Can't be the
I
guy
think
laughing and
it
giggling.
couldn't be. It couldn't be. Oh boy. Hey. Roll that one up. He's a boy.
Okay, so if you have not finished yet, you have, until the end of the class to finish that. Okay, so let's carry on. So we have gone through 4. Let's see here, number 5. Okay, so number 5 here is with me. Okay, so I just want to answer a question that I saw there, somewhere amongst the other stuff. Okay. Come on, let's focus here. Let's focus here. Okay, does at model has opposite function with ASP-4 at model is used for asking the value of the model object. ASP4 is used for saving the value. Okay, so we're not doing any forms today, but that's okay. ASP4 is used when we are dealing with inputs. Inputs and some other elements. But if we want to link, let's say, a text box to a student name, we use ASP4 and we say, link this input box to first name. It only knows what first name means because of the model. So it's not that they are opposite things, they work in conjunction. The only reason why you can use ASP4, and again, I don't want to address that really today because we're not dealing with forms, but the only reason you can use that to link to a property is because you have used a model at the very top. So again, if you have further questions about this one, I can deal with that 101, but you're gonna see this later down the road, okay? Let's see if there's anything else here. Okay, not really. Okay, great. So this step here, it's with me. So create a layout called basic layout. So first of all, what is a layout? A layout is, now I can really use the term template. A layout is kind of a template that can be used across different views, okay? Let's have a look at our views. Okay, so we have two views, index and list students. So let's look at this. I'm not referring to the code at the top. Look at the HTML of each one. Look what is similar. As I flip through them, what is similar between them in terms of HTML? What can you tell me?
The meta.
So which tags are similar?
Meta tags.
The meta tags are similar.
Head, body.
Head, body. What else? I mean, up at the top of the page. The doc type, the HTML, they are all similar tag elements, okay? So how come we need to repeat all of them over and over? We don't. We don't because we're going to be using a template. Right now, so a template in our context here is called a layout. So right now, what is the layout that has been set for our two views?
No.
It's been set null, which means that our views right now, they are self-contained. They don't use any external layout to be created, okay? But we're going to change this. So, as I said, a lot of what we're going to be seeing today is how to reuse. We have seen view imports, which we import libraries. Now it's time for HTML. How can we write less HTML? By using a layout. Now, this name here, does it have to be this name? No. It can be, to be honest, it can be any name as long as you have the underscore. It starts with underscore. It can be anything. However, I recommend that you keep the layout keyword. So you remember that this is not a regular view, that this is really a layout view, okay? But again, it can be named anything. Okay, so let's start with that. So let's create, oh, and by the way, that layout needs to be created inside a folder called shared. That has to be this name. It has to be called shared under the views folder.
I was just about to ask you where does shared go?
Yes, under the views folder. Okay, so under views folder, let's create a shared folder. So let's do that. Not under home, under views, add new folder. I'm going to call it shared. Now, under shared, we're going to create basic layout. So I right click on shared. I go to add, not view, don't go to view here. Let's go to new item. Under ASP.NET Core, expand web, and then click ASP.NET. And here on the side, you're going to see a lot of Razor-related templates. One of them is a layout, Razor layout. See? By default, it comes as underscore layout. You can keep that. Again, nothing is stopping you from using something called underscore layout. We're going to call it basic underscore basic layout. Okay? Then I'm going to add that. So it comes with the scaffolding of a basic HTML page. Okay? You have the doc type, HTML tag, header, the heads, the body. Again, the basic elements. And a few not so basic elements here. We have a view bag here. Not going to address this right away. Going to leave that a little bit later. And then we have this thing called render body. This is the one that does the magic. But let's stop here for a second. And let's go back to our views and get rid of the common HTML elements. Now, I'm going to get rid of this whole part here. And under list students, I'm going to get rid of this part here as well. If you look at both of them, you can see a minor difference, correct? I mean, what is the difference? The title tag. The title tags are a bit different, correct? But in our basic layout, we have this thing here which works like a variable. And you're going to see how we can set this up in a second. Let's not worry about that for now. But let's get rid of this. So I'm going to delete this from the first view, delete from the second view. And the other thing that we're going to be removing is we're going to be removing the closing body tag and the closing HTML tag at the very bottom. So let's remove that as well. Do the same thing for the list of students. Let's go all the way down. Remove the HTML, remove the body, save both of them. And what we have left is really the key, the core of each one of the views. We don't have the fluffy stuff anymore. We don't have the extra stuff anymore. Now we just have the precise core HTML of each one of the views, of what makes them unique. Okay? Oh, I thought you had a question. Okay, great. So, okay, so we are getting there, almost there. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to set the layout. Layout is no longer null. Layout will be common to both of them. So I'm going to set the layout to underscore basic layout. And I don't need to put the extension. I just need to call underscore basic layout. Because we have placed the layout inside of the shared folder, by doing this, it goes to the shared folder and it looks for a file called underscore basic layout. So we put this on both our views. And we have our layout set. Let me see if there's any other steps here. Let's give it a try. Let's give this for a spin. Take this for a spin here. Not much will change from a UI standpoint, but I just want to see if the layout is coming. So let's have a look at the source code. View page source. So you see, we have the common part at the top, the common part at the bottom, and the middle here, which is specific to the view. And if we click the link, we have something similar there as well. We have the common elements at the top, and then we have the closing elements at the bottom, and we have the middle, which is different. Now, look at this. The title of each one of the views, it's empty. So there's no title here. Let's address that. Okay? So you have seen before the view bag being applied, transfer information from the controller to the view. We used in part invites, we used the greetings to go from the controller to the view. Now, we can use view bag in a way to send information from the lists, sorry, from the views to the templates, to the layouts like this. So we can say something like this. On each one of our views, we can add an extra line of code here. By the way, another razor element. See, I have a code block here. When you hear the word razor code block, it starts with the symbol, and then it's followed by the curly braces, and it ends in a curly braces at the bottom. So you can add as many lines of code as you may need inside this code block. So I'm going to add an extra line of code here. I'm going to say not at viewBag, but I'm going to say viewBag.title equals to, I'm going to say this is the first view. I'm going to call this homepage here. And because this is a code block, the lines, they end with semicolon, okay? Think of this as a block of C# code. So I can end like that. I should do the same thing for the other view. So list students. But I'm going to say this one here, I'm going to call list of students. Okay? Now, if I run this, I should see different titles on our two views. See, so look at that, we have homepage there. If you look at the source, we have the title tag set, and if we do the other one, you see list of students up there, and then view page source, we have the title tag filled up as well, okay? Let's see here. Okay, no questions. Okay. At model, that's the one. Any question about that?
Is that the only purpose of basic layout? Just to set the title and get rid of all the.
The purpose of the layout.
For this one that we're making.
Yeah, well, our example here is very simple, but you can have, let's say, you can have a layout that maybe you have a logo that is shared across the different views. You have a navigation menu that is shared, so you put it there. Whatever elements are common, you just put in the layout. You're going to be using that extensively moving forward, okay? Don't need to use that for assignment 1. But again, moving forward, you're going to be using that quite a lot. So the idea is to move the common HTML elements to one single location. So when you need to make a change, you change in one location, and it applies to every single view that is using that layout. You can have an admin layout. You can have a front-end layout. And actually, we're gonna do that in the next examples that you're going to be seeing. Any other questions? So as usual, I'm going to share the codes before moving to the next step. So step 5. Oh, actually, step 4 and 5 here. I didn't share the previous one. Okay. And the next one is with me again. 7, it will be, I think, with you, but let's have a look at this one. So another step that is talking about sharing codes. Just a quick recap. We have seen view imports, which share imports like namespace, tag helpers. We have seen layouts, which will be sharing HTML across different views. Now we will be able to share code blocks across views as well. So one is sharing references, the other one is sharing HTML. This one here will be sharing code. As the name says, and it has to be that name, this is a startup code, piece of code that will run before calling any one of the specific views. It has to have that specific name, and it will be added directly inside the views folder. Okay? So let's go there. Actually, before I create that, let's have a look at our two views. Now, forget about the HTML part. Let's have a look at the code block that we have on both of them. What is common in terms of the code block? Code block here on the list, code block in the index. What is common? The layout. So the layout is the only thing really common here. If this was a more complex application, we may have more lines that would be common. Right now, what you're going to be doing, you're going to be moving the layout line to the view starts. But you may ask, but Edison, is it worth creating just another, yet another file just because of one line? Well, we have a simple example. Again, as we go through with more complex examples, we may have other pieces of codes that you're going to be moving to a common place like the view start, okay? But yes, for the sake of this example, we are just moving this line of code. How we get that one done? We right-click the views, we go to Add, New Item, and again, you navigate to ASP.NET Core, Web, ASP.NET. You look for Razor View Start. It comes pre-named with underscore view start. Keep that. Confirm. And it is smart enough to know that, hey, most likely one of the things you want to add here is the layout. So that's correct. We're going to be moving the layout to here. And we're going to get rid of this line from each one of our views. So I'm going to delete it from here. In the other view as well. I'm going to remove from there. I'm going to save all of this. And when I run this, I should still be able to use the basic layout code that we have moved to the view start. Let me see if there's any other step there. Nope, that's it. So I'm going to run this. So, as you see, we still have the common layout being used here. It's all working as it should. Okay? So again, we just moved some common code, common Razor codes from the specific views to the view starts. And again, as the name implies, it's the start code that runs before any view gets called. Okay? Again, any questions? Anything here? Yep. It's not. Okay.
It should be the red. Yeah.
Okay. So this is not working.
Before it was not working, but when I cut this one inside this one, I mean the student model.
The student model. It stopped working.
Yeah.
When you run, what happens when you run? Give it a try. Can you try to run it?
Oopsie.
Okay, I'll sit down with you in a second. Let me just move forward and I'll come here. Okay, so I'm going to share the codes of number 6 there. Step number 6. So to start step number 7, you may want to download this one here, or you may want to apply what you have seen to your own examples. So again, step number 6 is there. Moving to step number 7. This is review, okay? Looks like a lot, but it's not. I just want to explain this. In your list of students, we're gonna do 2 tests. Test the GPA column, the GPA value. If the GPA value is greater than 2, show a message, great GPA. Show a message just right after the GPA. Show this message. If GPA is less than 2, show the message, keep working on the GPA, okay? So that's for GPA. Gonna use an if statement. If statement. We're gonna use a switch case statement to test the course code. Use the switch statement. If the course code is comp229, show web application development. If it's comp100, show programming 1. If it's comp123, show programming 2. If it's none of those, show other course. Okay? Again, using Razor, using if in the context of Razor, using switch. This is done in the view, in the list view. As you loop through the students, you're going to test the GPA, you're going to test the course code and apply these rules here. Okay? Have a few minutes there. I'll be walking around answering your questions. If you need to have 5 minutes, for a break, take it now. Still giving problem?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Okay, so try to run. Click no. Okay, so double click in the first one. No, not there. Just double click in the description.
I'm giving a 2.9 GPA.
Okay, the next one here. It's opening the link that you clicked there. That's fine. You can just close that.
I'm tired of waiting now. I'm still the rest of oh yeah, we need to.
So touch the next one. Double click. Oh, sorry.
This one.
Yeah, double click there. So this is not at view bag. This is just view bag.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so save it. Let's see the next one. Double click there. The next one. Double click there again. Yeah, try to recompile. Let's see if things got improved there. Recompile. Try to run it again. Okay, no.
Sorry.
Okay.
What are you saying?
You don't have to worry about that. You'll see later.
Okay, so
I'm gonna give you one.
yeah, I don't know what that is. I think I've saw this before. It seems that your project might be corrupted. What I would do is I'd get rid of yours. I would go to Centennial. I would download the latest version, the version number 6, and then I'll start from there, because there's something funky with your project there. I have seen this kind of stuff before, and I don't remember what's the issue, but there is an issue with your project somewhere. You may just spend the whole time searching that. It's better get the last version and start from there. Okay? You can get that from Centennial. You know where to get? No? Okay, so open Centennial. It's open here. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this one.
6,
Number
number 6.
6, yes.
You really immerse yourself in the waters of the code. You understand?
So shut the hell up.
You're not fucking listening to what I'm saying.
Dude.
Buddy. It's written on the side.
Yeah. Probably completely.
Oh no, sorry. Index, yeah. Oh, right, everything got messed up now. The indentation's all weird. Okay. It's not index.
Or you can do
This.
that. You can take like a or you can add
Okay, so did you open it?
This one here.
Can I see? Go up here, downloads. Yep, go up there. Where's the folder? I mean, don't open inside the zip. Unzip it first. Okay.
Oh. No. I think I have another way to do it. Is that allowable? Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna do that because we're gonna stick to how it is right now, but we'll come back. Okay, so it's not very spaced out, but we can fix that with CSS. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on it. Hey, shame on all the people that have fucking, cut a crazy.
Put it in the same.
We didn't put in a value for it, so we have 0 and we 0.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, now we gotta go to 15. No, wait, it was 15.
Yeah.
There in a second. Yep. Okay, so no, click no. Let's look at the arrow.
No, I didn't see any.
Okay, so the arrows are not showing up here. Let's see. View.
View.
Let me see here. Arrow list. Okay.
Wait, that's the reason I can't open. Remember, I emailed you to my problem before I read the week 1 video, and I email you to. When I zip it, I can't open it. That's
Okay.
the same thing.
Okay, so Well, there's something strange this here with your project. Let's try to do one thing here. Close the solution.
Close the solution.
Yeah, save it, but close it.
Close it.
You know where it's stored, correct? You know? Okay, so open Visual Studio again. Have you been able to run it from here? Have you been able to run today from this computer?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to check something. New
New
project.
project.
So just confirm there. That's fine. Yep, that's okay. Just want to see if it's creating correct there. Select. Make sure that you select core one. Okay. Okay. So it's working great. So close the solution. Not just a solution. Just a solution. File. Close solution.
Oh, here.
Yeah. So now go file. Open yours. Open project solution. Not folder. Project solution. Which one is yours? Actually, where is yours?
I don't know yours.
Okay, so try there, yep. Okay, so now you open. I think that before you open the folder.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's not the folder, it's the solution that you have to open. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
This is so weird.
So I just want to add this message to the last statement in
Okay.
the form. So how can I write it?
Okay, so let me just confirm this. Okay. Okay, so what you do is you do this inside this tag. You can just do this like here. See, you open the tag here, you close it here, and you do the test inside. That's it.
Oh, it is still.
Now, yeah, there's something strange here. Let's see. Oh, it's the at. You're missing the at before it. Let's see. That's it.
Oh,
That's it.
okay.
Okay?
That was my shit, bro. Great. What are you doing? What is your format?
Look, it works.
No, it doesn't.
Alright.
How does it work if you're not switching on it? Because you're just calling switch. What are you switching on? What variable?
Very good.
Wait, why do you have a switch and an else? Oh, it's a format.
You do need
This
an
is
else.
so
So,
important. You have to make it look nice.
Then
Like yourself.
afterwards.
What?
Fix it after.
There's no function.
I'm not even with coding from
Fuck me, right? Fuck me in my ignorance and
You're going for
nice face, bro.
yeah.
It's very, very nice. You know what you do? You can take off the back and just make this like a bumper. You remember seeing those bumpers? They used to be when the iPhone had like wireless issues, and they had bumpers so that you can have a case, but it won't fuck up the wireless issue if you put your hand on it.
Because they were on it.
Other way. I'm always an Android guy. I never had an iPhone in my life. Although I will say that the iPods used to be so fucking slow.
You're slow.
I can't help, bro. It's part of my vocabulary.
You said you heard it when you were listening to it before.
They did what? You were listening to refer?
I apologize.
Oh, here's this. It's okay. I got my dose of it.
Yeah, with the variation here, the GPA.
Okay.
Just here, that when I type the if statement here, it said not exist.
Yeah, so
Should we declare?
here's the thing. That test you are doing outside of the for each loop. That test should be inside the for each. Because you see, you have to test the GPA for each student.
Oh, yes.
So it's inside the for each. It's doing that because you're not doing it inside the for each loop. Okay? The for each loop, so it must be done inside of, Yep. Yeah, now just put in the correct location. You have to put that in, see which column is the GPA. You have to put inside this column. Okay?
Oh, you say, oh, speak for yourself.
Okay? And GPA has to be preceded by sorry, not at, model. Not model, sorry, S.
S.
Yes, S.
What's the limitations for IC in regards to the C sharp capabilities? Like, can we do anything that we can do in C sharp? We can do in
Pretty much, I'll mention a little difference when you are using the if statements. In C sharp, if there is just one line inside an if statement,
automatically.
you don't need to put the curly braces. But in Razor, you do need to. So again, minor details like that, but in general, overall.
So,
Because the concepts you already know.
I'm gonna test it myself before.
No, oh, never mind. Not 4 hours? 4 hours back to back?
Okay,
Oh, we never really finished 4 hours in a row. I love 12. I love doing that. Talking shit on the air. I had her for JavaScript. She was so fucking awesome.
Oh, you had it for JavaScript?
Yeah, and then JavaScript first half for the other half. I had her for I had Blessing.
Oh
And
my
Blessing was
God.
awesome.
Oh
Blessing is underrated, I have to say.
Really?
And not just saying that because I'm on the air. She's actually sick.
Okay, no ghosting, no ghosting.
Who? But it's a good gossip.
I've heard,
Come on, man. You should be talking good things behind people's back instead of bad things. You
no,
know?
fuck you. You're a terrible person.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Love you too.
We're almost done, part A, man. We're almost there.
Party? Yeah, I know.
Tomorrow we should be able to get it done and then just check this out.
How do you make your spacing with that?
I copy this.
Oh yeah, how did you
Yeah,
space
like
it?
that.
Yeah, how did you space it?
I just left focus. You see?
Yeah, mine doesn't space out so well. So nicely.
Oh, CSS. That would be CSS. Oh, wait, never mind. You're not using CSS. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Did you use accents here?
Yeah, of course.
And here?
Razor code.
And here?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not do that. But then what the hell is the difference?
You know
Oh
what?
wait, looks like
He didn't use no, he did use the table body. He used the head table row. Why is this formatting just better? God.
I don't know, it's just for the handsome and like Brandon.
Yeah,
And,
because all
and
our
Allison.
stuff is kind of like
Maybe just about
that.
like this, use Razor and then we have prosecution.
huh.
I actually have to teach you. Sorry.
What did he do?
Does it make sense? Never mind, it's fine. Because it's a string match. Like this one. Why not? Because whenever it's default, that's why other
Wait, what are you creating Oh, I mean, I just put it as a P.
Oh, okay.
No, that's what I was like, wait, oh.
I had to cheat it the other day.
Actually, that would shit.
But you gotta kill it.
And then I figured out why my thing doesn't let me go up.
Yeah, Anderson.
What's up?
Got a question for you.
Oh, there is.
Let's say I want to go add in some extra information over here, and because over here I'm not affecting this specific variable. I just want to add it into like let's say other course. If I try doing outside this, it gives me an error. And is this necessary? Like, aren't I supposed to be doing that?
So let me just see one thing. So for each there.
Okay. Over here.
I think that's what it's saying here. Move the mouse over. Just let's see the message there. There's no message there. Yeah, this. Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go. No, that's TD element. I'm highlighting TD now. No message.
Well, I can tell you one thing is that in this case here, because you have already started the line with TD, it knows that this line there, it's straight HTML, straight. There's no code there.
Right.
And again, if you need to use, let's see here. Yes, okay, that's fine. So a student, okay, got it. So you're using, yeah. So if you want to output a property of, let's say, student, then you can use that. But when you say at column, it means that everything after that is plain text or plain HTML. But you already started with a TD, so it's already signaling that. It's almost like you are doing it in a redundant way.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So if I wanted to do this instead,
See, now it will. Well, you don't need the codes. You don't.
regardless, it's still not going to change anything because if I refresh the page, it doesn't actually add anything to this.
Well,
but not
so
to the table cell anyway.
I get it because you are doing this outside of the table cell.
Right, exactly.
So you want to have hello inside the table cell?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so put it inside.
Okay, like just like I did on the course, but it's supposed to be without this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Then that much I figured out. I was just wondering why I couldn't do this here. But yeah, now that you explain that to me, it's perfect.
Okay. If it was in a separate line of its own, you could.
I see.
Okay. Like if
So
you
it's
enter.
not affected by HTML tags.
You see, try one thing here. Put the cursor there after the TD. After the TD.
Oh, after the.
Yeah. After hit enter. Now put at column. That should work. Let me see. Okay, so
If I did this, because that's.
I guess that's
No,
because
it's within the TD tag.
Yeah, I guess so. So. It's still considering that because you are doing that inside.
Right.
It does. You don't have to. I guess you don't have to use that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank
Okay.
You. Thank you.
Just
here. Yeah, it works on the course.
For this, there's only like one model, but what if I'm trying to pass like multiple models in the main?
Okay.
But here it should be like about just one model. So.
Yeah. So when you are doing multiple models, we're going to be addressing that in the next class. However, you can only send one model. If you do need to send multiple models, you have to create a third model that has both of them, that has both models.
But if it's different two types like this and queen, like how you merge?
That's okay. You don't merge. Let's say if you have a student and a faculty.
You just create an instance with two models.
Yes, with two properties. One property is a student, one property is a faculty, and then you send this new model.
That's the JSON.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay? But we're going to be addressing that better next class. There will be an example just about that. Okay?
Yeah, 2 seconds. Throw your bunch of thoughts and then no,
Here.
you won't have enough.
Okay, so let's keep moving forward. Okay? So number 7 here, I'll just show. So okay. So in the list of students, okay, so let's see the if statement first. So very simply, you can just do something like this. So you start the razor syntax there with net if, then everything after that, it's very much C#, S is a student in the loop, so I'm using S inside my for each loop. So I need to reference S in the GPA. I'm still printing the GPA here, but then I'm testing if GPA is greater than or equal to 2, output grade GPA. Now, I could also do something like this. So, first, you use the symbol at column to indicate that you are not writing code, you are writing HTML. So whatever comes after that is HTML. Now, keep in mind that HTML, plain text, is part of HTML. So you're just doing plain and simple HTML after that. Now, if you put something like this, let's say you put a p tag, and you involve this with a p tag. See? You no longer need to put the symbol because Razor is smart enough to know that, hey, you started a line with a tag, so most likely I should not think that this is code. I should think that this is HTML. Okay? So, but in a case like this, because I'm starting a line with this minus thing here, or this dash, Razor doesn't know that, okay, are you trying to code here, or is this HTML? Then I have to explicitly say at column, and with that I'm saying, hey, output this. I'm not trying to code here. I'm trying to output this line. Okay? So if you start with a tag, it's smart enough, and you don't need to use this. But if you start with a text like this, it does know, so you have to start with an at column. Okay.
If you just use the @, what does it put? Does it just put a p tag, or how does HTML render it?
Just that. Exactly like this. It will render this.
Oh, right,
just like verbatim.
Oh, okay.
Exactly like this here.
So it doesn't put like behind the scenes.
No. No. Actually, that's one of the beautiful things about MVC in .NET Core is that whatever it outputs is what you add here. It doesn't assume anything for you, where you have absolute control on the outputs of this. Okay, so you can do this or this one here. One minor difference between C# and Razor is that the if statement in C#, if we have just one line inside the if statements, what is optional? You don't need the curly braces if you have just one line inside an if statement. However, in Razor, it doesn't matter how many lines we have. Even if it's just one, you need the curly braces to encompass whatever your if, even if it's just one line. Okay? Minor difference, but a difference nonetheless. Questions about this? It's very, very important to get out of here today with a good understanding of, okay, how do I do ifs? How do I do switch statements? How do I do, how do I loop through data? Because those are the types of things that you're going to be using in our UIs.
Is doing like this scalable? Like, what if later on I want to change the message from grade GPA to something?
Well, I'm not saying that there's a lot that we do just for the sake of example. I'm not saying that hard code the messages here. There are other mechanisms to have messages external to the codes. So, like the same thing applies to. I'm not saying that hard code John as a student in the system. You don't hard code John. You are using this because our focus is on the output here. So yeah, there are better strategies to hard code messages instead of hard code messages in your code like that, But
for example.
Yes. Okay. Any questions about it?
Output this information to a new column of the table.
A new column? Well, so we are inside of a column, correct? Here? So I can just say this. I'm in a second column. I can just say, I'm in a second column. And I can get rid of this part here. Again, think of the HTML that is around as just being around. I mean, we can code anywhere within the HTML, you know. So again, make sense? Okay. So that's the if statement. Now let's go to the switch statement. So we open again with an add switch. Here's our field, the property that we want to test. Case this one, output this. Case 100, output this code. And we use the break as we have in a regular C# switch statements. And then we have the default, which means that if it doesn't fit any one of the cases prior to it, it's kind of the else. Okay, and I'm using the at column to indicate that I want to output this line of text. Okay. Again, we open curly braces at the top, we close at the bottom. Nothing too fancy here. I'm gonna check here Padlet to see if there's anything going on there aside from little funny stuffy. Nope. Okay. Great. Okay. So I'm gonna upload this to Centennial as well. Okay. And we have the last step of the day. Before we go to the last step, I have one or two things to quickly mention. Let me just reload this. Okay. I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, just a quick reminder. Assignment 1 is due not tomorrow, but the following Monday, okay? So let me know if anyone has any questions, okay, about that. Again, you can email me. We can talk here. We're going to have more time in a little bit. So again, I can talk one-on-one if you need that. Anything that you want to ask or voice in the group? Yes.
Can you explain something about the view pages which you have to apply?
About the
View pages.
view pages. You mean view recipe? Which one?
Because
Recipe list?
yeah, I don't know if this one should be.
Oh, review. Review?
Yeah.
Review. Okay, so just for everybody. So review. First of all, what is a review? Review is to say, hey, thumbs up. The recipe, tastes great, or thumbs down, it didn't work, or input a little comment there. So when is it that you're going to be reviewing a recipe? Well, in my thinking is that maybe in the list of recipes, you have an icon or a link at the end that says review recipe. You click there, and then you go to maybe a form that will ask you for what's your feedback. And it's 5 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, maybe a drop down. That could be a way. Another way that could be is, I see the list of recipes, I click on a recipe, I see the details of the recipe, then maybe there's a button that says, review this recipe. And it goes to this form, or this other view, that again, asks for the description, your comments, 1 star, 2 star, maybe a drop down, but I'm thinking in terms of a form. Now, remember, you don't need to save that information that you review. When you click on Submit Review, it doesn't have to save yet. Some point in the future, you're going to save that, but that answers your question?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, but what is the difference between the recipe list and the view?
View recipe? Okay, so think about this. Think about, let's say that you are in a student system, and then you see the list of students. Do you think that in the list of students, all student data is in that list? No, we click the student and we see the full details of that student. So the view recipe. So the list shows the list of recipes, but maybe it's not showing the picture of the recipe or the ingredients of the recipe. Then you click in a recipe and then you go to view the details of that recipe, like the picture of the recipe, the ingredients of the recipe, who did the recipe. So it's the details. So this is very common when we are dealing with systems. We have list views and we have detail views. List view will summarize, and I can click and I can see the rest of the details. So recipe list is the list of recipes. I can click in one and I can view the recipe. Now, do I have to take care of showing the recipe of chicken and the recipe of pork? Not yet. You can have one single view and it can go to the same one as you click through them. Does that make sense?
Does face? Does link to face?
The link goes to the view, to the view recipe. The link in the list.
Are those view pages will be shown on the same index page but in different frames, or wait?
No. You have the home. The home is the index, and then there's a navigation that says view list recipes, and then you click there. It goes to the list of recipes. There is a new view. Okay, you can call it a new page. It's a new view. Okay, because we don't create pages in MVC. We create views. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, so that's assignment. Next bonus for next weekend. Again, as I said, things will start to get harder, okay? So I really need us to work together to get through the next 5 weeks. Because the next 5 weeks, you're going to go chapter by chapter. And again, you can refer, if you have the book, you can refer to the book. You can follow the book there. We're going to go from chapter 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 5 weeks, 5 chapters. Each weekend, 1 chapter. Okay? For next weekend, what I'm asking you is that have a look at videos 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's about half an hour. Okay? Execute them. Go step by step with those videos. So you come next class with already some basic knowledge built up. Okay? Come up with 3 questions about those videos. Here, you can find the sports store. I have posted that on Centennial as well. So if you go to week 4, actually, I missed here. Okay, so I'll make sure that I'll post that. Oh, actually, it's there. I was in the wrong place, yes. So under week 4, you're going to see the playlist here, 14 videos. I'm just asking you to go through videos 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay, from the sets. This is the same thing. This is just a link that goes straight to YouTube, but this is the playlist embedded on Centennial. Ask 3 questions, upload them to Centennial by the beginning of next class. Just want to highlight the fact that you need to have at least 50% attendance so the bonus can be considered, okay? So again, I'm going to say this one more time, so you cannot say that I did not say that. And I'll be repeating that throughout the semester. You can only get advantage of the bonus if you have at least 50% of attendance. It's not much, no, just 50%. Any questions about that? Okay, so again, we really need to work together going forward here. There's a lot of content there that should be covered. Next weekend, I'll be focused in presentations here on the most complex aspects of this exercise. Lots of them, of the little ones, the minor ones, you're going to be doing them on your own, and I'll be walking around as well. So that's how we're going to be, again, moving forward. I hope that this works for everybody. Great. Last step here. Last step is with me. Okay, not the quiz. Let's go to step number 8 here. Yeah, we just have time to wrap things up here. So, Bootstrap. Bootstrap, what is it?
Oh, it's a framework.
Framework of what type of framework?
User interface.
As user interface framework, it's a CSS-based framework. Okay, so it's just to pretty things up on our application. Okay, we're going to be using a lot of Bootstrap. Again, I'll never be addressing, okay, what's this class, which color, don't come to me with colors questions. I mean, again, CSS stuff, again, you have to deal on your own. I'll assist you a little bit, but what I'll be mostly able to assist is how to add Bootstrap to your application, and that's what we're going to be doing now by using libman. Libman is the library manager of Visual Studio of Microsoft, okay? So let's add Bootstrap by using that. How can we do that? Well, here is our application. I'm going to go to the very top, to the project. I right-click there, and then I go to Manage Client-Side Libraries. When I do that, a new file gets created. A new file called, here it is, called libman.json. It's a JSON formatted file, and here I can add references to third-party libraries like Bootstrap, like jQuery, like Angular. Okay, so how do I add that? Well, I just hit enter here inside this square brackets. I put curly braces, and as I type in library, it shows me library right away. I can hit enter. Okay, it will write that for us. Now, to add Bootstrap, Bootstrap came from Twitter, so I can just say Twitter, and then I'll see Twitter Bootstrap is one of the options, you see? When I'm there, I can just hit enter, and it creates the entire reference for us, including the latest stable version. For this example, we're going to be using the latest version, that's fine. There are some other examples in the future that we might be using an earlier version of Bootstrap, okay? But that's not a problem. So that's the first thing. Then I'll put a comma, and I'm going to add another parameter here, which is where should I save Bootstrap in my project, which folder, where it should go. So I will start to type in destination. It shows me right away destination. I'll hit enter, and then I just, by default, by standards, we're going to be adding our third-party libraries to the www root folder, and then to a folder called lib from libraries. And because we are dealing with Bootstrap, I'm going to name my final folder as Bootstrap. Okay, so reference to the library, and then the location of where it will be saved in our project. When I save this, you see, the changes are not saved yet because of, you see the asterisk here. When I save this, look at what will happen to the, right now, www root folder is empty. There's nothing there. When I save this, look, it will start to change here. If I didn't save it yet. Okay. Yeah. See? It's already downloading, and I can already see the folder and the CSS files related to Bootstrap. It went to the web. This is not, Visual Studio went to the web, grabbed those files over there, and saved them locally to us here. Okay? So that was libman and Bootstrap. Now, we have to make a reference to that CSS on our views, but we no longer need to do that view by view, because now we have which file? We have the basic layout that is sharing HTML codes. So we just need to enter here a new line to make a reference to the CSS, to the Bootstrap CSS. So we create a link here related to style sheet. href will be lib, and sometimes this tilde doesn't work that well. I get rid of this tilde. I just leave it /lib/bootstrap. Well, I'll get rid of it. And then /css, and then slash, the file that we're going to be adding is the minified version. What does minified means?
It takes out all the spacing, all the enters, paired returns. So it's not very nice to read, but it's the same code.
Exactly. So it removes spaces, line breaks, comments as well. Okay. So that we are almost done here. I'm going to run, and we're going to have a look at this in action. Okay, so nothing has changed here. We should have seen some changes, but let's see the code, see the reference to our style sheet. I'm gonna actually, I broke the HTML a little bit there. So I need to close this properly, but this is not the issue here. I'm just gonna reload, and we're gonna still have the same problem. Okay, so the problem is still there. Now, I should be able to click this link and see the CSS, but I'm getting an error here. I'm getting an error because we missed one line of code. The line of code is the one that should be placed inside of startup right before we say use MVC, which is called, we're going to call app.use static files. By calling this method, we are making the www root folder available to the application. Again, by calling use static files, we make available the www root to the application. Let's run this again. Okay, so now you can see a little difference. So now our CSS is available. You can see that. I can click the list of students. Now, I'm going to do one minor change to our list of student table. So I'm going to go to the list of students, and I'm just going to add a class, which is a bootstrap class, to the table. I'm going to call it table. Again, this is a class from Bootstrap. I'm going to save this. I'm going to reload the page. And now you see some differences here, okay? Any questions here? Anything? Any questions remaining? Sure. This one here, just a class table. Again, I'll post this version as well right now on Centennial. Okay. Any questions remaining from your uploaded file? Anything else? Anything there? Again, if any one of those questions were not answered, you can send me those questions. You can send me the question. I'm not going to read one by one. I'm going to read. If you still have a lingering question, let me know. Okay? I'm going to upload the source in a second. Okay, we have gone through that. We're not going to do the quiz. We save it for another time. Again, just a quick summary. We have covered quite a lot today. We have reviewed a few concepts that we knew already. But again, we added more stuff to the view imports. We added the namespace. We now know that we can use layouts to share content, HTML content across the views. Render body is actually that's something that I didn't focus too much on that. But that's what makes the magic. Render body is the one that calls the views inside the layouts. We have seen the lowercase. Which one do we use at the top of the view? Is the uppercase or lowercase? Lowercase. So at model lowercase when we need to bind to the model. At model uppercase when we need to use the properties within the view. View bag to transfer information between controller and view or between view and layouts. Tag helpers to help us create our tags like the ASP-action. View starts where we can share code, blocks of codes amongst the different views. And we have seen the syntax of using if, switch statements, and for each statement as well. Quite a lot, but again, this is nothing. Next weekend, again, you're gonna see it. Okay? Have a great week.
Thank you.
Don't forget the assignments, don't forget the bonus. I'll see you all next Sunday. Thank you.